and sip my.
You know what that is? Discipline. Selfish.
No joke. We're legitimate.
Fucking do this, then do it. Do it 100%, because I'm trying to.
We recognize that we are limitless.
You gotta be a champion to become a champion, right? Winning is a habit because we create habits that lead to good execution and success.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Coaches Show. This is episode 97, and we're halfway through the month of December already. Man, I love this time of year, but the 2026 season will be here before we know it. I'm Coach Mike Bianca, and with me, as always, is my friend and co-host, Coach Ryan Gray of Red Legion. Tonight, we're talking the WNXL, some World Cup chaos, and the road to Team USA. That's right. We're going to be discussing the Paintball Combine. If you've ever wondered what the Combine actually is, who should be there, or how players go from the pits to wearing red, white, and blue over in Europe, well, you've tuned into the right episode. So we are joined tonight by Jen Fulk and Anthony Vitale, two wonderful, wonderful human beings. We're looking forward to talking to them about tonight. We're going to be breakdowning the WNXL World Cup, what's changing for 2026 in the WNXL, and what players really need to know if they want to take the next step, right? That big leap, that jump that is the Paintball Combine. So coaches, players, especially parents, grab a notebook because this one for sure is going to be packed with some insight. I can't wait to dive into this tonight. Now, the Coaches Show is brought to you by our awesome sponsors, Maxed. Get your deals done now for 2026. Contact Charles ASAP at Max Sportswear and have your team looking pretty fresh for next season. Get Maxed. BKI, the best knowledge in paintball, and for a reason. Sign up at bkipaintball.com today and start learning from the pros. What a great Christmas gift that would be, hey? Tis the season. And Thunder Valley Paintball, formerly Tiki's Paintball Park, the same great park, just new brand. Go check them out. Tell them the Coaches Show sent you. You won't regret it. Oh, hey, that reminds me. By the way, we want to thank the Summit Awards and you all out there in paintball podcast land. The Coaches Show was nominated for Best Podcast, and we are honored to be mentioned in the same breath as Play the Game, Spick and Span, Shelda, and our friend In the Pits, a new podcaster out there making waves. Christian, congratulations. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are interested in voting for our show and all the other cool categories, there is a link in the show's description, and we'll probably post it again here for your convenience. I think I clicked it a little earlier. You can click a link there earlier. I don't know how to do this stuff. I just press buttons and then it works or it doesn't. So anyway, that's the way things are, Ryan. Hey, what do you say? We get this party started and bring our guests in.
What are we not going to say tonight?
What? Listen,
all right.
Listen, you actually hit me up. You texted me, ladies and gentlemen, you texted me this weekend and he did something very similar and I had to call him out on it. We're two of the whitest guys in paintball, brother. That's all there is to it.
On purpose.
It's true. All right. I will not be talking about hood rat stuff with my hood rat friends. So I miss Blurry Bianca. Yeah. Well, got the old we got the Wi-Fi working tonight. The cold has not affected it tonight, so that's good. All right.
Yeah, Jen saying she can't hear me. Can you hear me?
Uh-oh. I can.
Can you hear me? Great. Perfect. All right. Well, let's bring him in. Let's start talking about the WNXL. We got a long show.
Let's do it.
Welcome, Anthony Vitale, Jen Fulk.
Woohoo!
Hey, guys.
Welcome.
Hello.
You guys ready for Christmas? Got all your shopping done?
Almost, actually. Hey, I was ahead of the curve this year.
Were
Went
you?
ahead and got all that way done. Yeah.
You know, I normally do it in October.
Yeah, well, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
A little psychotic, actually, but we'll leave
It
that
is. It's so I don't go psychotic in December.
Maybe I'm just jealous and I'm being passive aggressive here.
I get a
think
lot
my
of that.
Christmas
actually.
shopping's done. I'll have to ask my wife.
There you
Yeah.
go. Smart man. Smart man. I love it.
Just stay out of the way.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So let's
So
talk about
listen, let's talk about the All right, Ryan.
You got it.
I was just gonna say, let's talk about the WNXL. What's going on? What's happening? What do you want to lead with? Because we got a couple of topics.
I think a little World Cup wrap up, Jen. What do you think?
Yeah, works for me.
I
Yep.
think it was another great event. WNXL was a little. I do love having the European teams there, and they weren't there this year, so I think that was a little bit of a, I get a backward step, but love having the European teams come over and having 12. But besides that, I thought the event was really good, run well, no issues on our field. The premier field I thought ran well. Let's see. I think from a team standpoint, the competition was good. We had a lot of teams really step up. Even sometimes the scoreboard doesn't reflect a lot of what's going on out there. So we had an owners group meeting on Tuesday, and I made sure to make sure teams like the Northern Lights that really have added a lot of new players, like Jen and I talked about in the preview, they really came out and played really well, even though their actual scores didn't reflect it, or their scores in the matches did, but they just didn't win matches. So I'm looking forward to see how they grow, and teams like that. The Sirens made the playoffs. What were you most excited about, Jen? Recapping kind of what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of touching on what you were saying about some of the scores, and some of the teams, like you mentioned, like even the Lights, who they went 0-4 and took 10th, but they had 1-point games with the Heroines and a 2-point game, which was kind of a 1-point game against Vibe. There was like a penalty that gave the other point at the end. But my point is that they had close games with the top ranked teams. Unfortunately, ended up losing to the other two lower ranked teams in the bracket. But to your point about, like, I think there's definitely some upsets that people didn't see coming. And touching back on some of our predictions that we had going into Cup, mine did not come true. But I know Anthony's did, saying it would be Heroines and Vibe. So definitely some good matchups. I think the last prelim game for the WNXL, which were the top 4 teams facing off, were excellent games. I know that was Femmes and High Rollers in a 1-point game, as well as Vibe and Heroines in a 1-point game. So that matches out. Those last prelim bracket matches are always really good games in the WNXL. So yeah, overall some really good games in the prelims. And then of course going into semis. Unless you have anything else to add about the prelims, Ant.
I actually do. We lost our last prelim game to Vibe. And I can admit it, I felt like I was a little outcoached by Casey in that one. They took away Tata getting into the snake, and we didn't kind of adjust, and they kind of got to play slower points, which I didn't want to do. I wanted to play more points, and Casey did a really good job of limiting how many times we were going to get out on the field, and only played 3 points. And I remember after the prelims, I think it must have been Saturday night, Jen, I actually asked you to come over, and you came over, and we kind of went over some things. And in Casey's defense, it is tough to beat the same team twice in a tournament. We all know that. But not to skip over the semis, but to get to the finals, I did do a major adjustment and just was like, well, I'm not going to give you Tata to shoot now. And that kind of really dictated, for us anyway, of how we wanted to play the match. We wanted to play 5 alive, and I watched a lot of Paintball Fit matches, and obviously Casey was trying to execute some similar things with the Vibe players, and that's why I was able, in my opinion, to at least do what I wanted to do, which I wasn't able to do in that first prelim match. So
I'm hearing 2 things from you right now. One, from both you and Jen. One, we're seeing some parity in the WNXL now, that the other teams are catching up. And in this last event, we saw a lot of growth from out of a lot of the other teams in the league. And 2, I was going to ask you about that. If we got into the finals match, I was going to ask why you kept pulling her short. And now I know.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
All right. I was like, wow, this weapon, this offensive weapon he has, and I didn't get to catch all the preliminary matches, so I missed the match between the first in the prelims. So that to hear you say that makes a lot more sense. I appreciate you bringing in some coaching aspects and throwing some over to Casey as well. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, and Jen came over on Saturday night, and I asked Jen what she was doing with Underground, and she gave me like a really good piece of information that we weren't doing, which Jen was rushing out to was it you yourself, Jen, that was rushing out to the Dorito 2? Okay, and she was looking inside and just really trying to shut down the middle
snake.
going to the wedge.
That wedge, yeah.
Yeah, and we were playing Nana a little bit more aggressive, and by doing that one change, it really affected the Femmes semifinals match, where we knew that they really wanted to filter up into those wedges, and we were catching people blind, Roxy and different players, Angie, trying to fill into those spots as a quick secondary, and that really slowed down them down in the center, allowed Brooklyn to get up into the wedge for us, set traps for Mercedes and anybody that was trying to come up the snake. And that it's just goes to show you that one key piece of information can really change the outcome of the match, really. And so thank you to Jen. Obviously, I have great respect for her as a player and in her as a high IQ. So I was fairly certain that between what she was giving me and what we were trying to execute, it really paid off in the semis. And while we were preparing for the semis, obviously you got to hope that you're going to win, and then look at the other bracket with the Sirens and Vibe in it and start looking at them. And that's when I started looking at some Paintball Fit matches as well as, the Sirens.
Smart. That's smart, because you were using the Dorito 2. Once again, I just want to clarify, you're using that Dorito 2 to shut down that snake side wedge, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Which was essentially what Vibe was using as Overwatch. Right. And if you can take that away, then basically you're doing a 2-on-1. Was that the goal? A 2-on-1 snake way?
The goal really, Jen can tell you, because she was the one that really was doing it and told me this is how we worked it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just to be clear, I know we kind of jumped around, but we were talking about, so after the prelims, our semifinals, I say our, still a habit of saying our, but the Heroines semifinals were against the Femmes. So we had to get through Femmes first in order to get to Vibe. So just to clarify, obviously Femmes and Vibe play very, very differently, but I think they both like to play one way. And that's not a knock to them. That's just their style of play. We talked about this on the last show. The Femmes like to play aggressive. They like to play a lot of points. Vibe plays a little bit slower. They want to get kills off the break. And I think that the reason that the Heroines ultimately won the event is that we were, again, I'm not on the team. Anthony and the Heroines were more dynamic. I think that they had a more versatility to their plays and to their players and to their play style. And I think that just gave them the edge. Not that those teams, obviously the matches were fantastic, even all the way through to the finals, but yeah, to your point, Ant, I mean, we watched the Femmes play and, they really, really liked that center wedge. But to answer your question, Mike, that was exactly the goal, was basically to get Nana on the cross, take away the first wedge. Again, the Femmes like to filter. So if there is another one, we stay on it. If they don't come, okay, now Nana plays heads up. At that point, we had Tata on the snake and Brooklyn in the wedge with her and playing a 2-on-1. And then Brooklyn set the trap. They come into the trap. Now we have the snake to ourselves. So that was really the goal going into the Femmes match. And I sat over the clipboard Saturday night for a long time, probably too long, looking at it. But and then of course I wasn't really involved with the adjustment to the Vibe matches because I was commentating at the time. But Ant made a perfect adjustment, and I know he'll talk about that more, going into the Vibe match and the finals. But yeah, I mean, obviously Vibe keys up on kills off the break, and also they were running a really light roster at Cup. I think they only had 7, and I think they were only playing 6, really, like truly. And obviously the Heroines, I think y'all had 8 and pretty rotated them pretty regularly. So Heroines are always a little bit more interested in playing, a little more points than Vibe, but they can definitely adjust as needed. So
excellent.
Yeah, and the Sirens had a really good prelims. Even I think the Angels won 2 matches. They had a good prelim. So when we start looking at some of these teams that had some breakout moments as teams, we'll get to the nominees and the nominations, but you'll kind of see how that's all coming together as well. That teams that are really right there on the cusp, right? So we had Cercados make a playoff in Ohio. We had Sirens make the playoffs. Unfortunately, it's on the backs of the high rollers not making the playoffs, both events. So they're definitely going to need to kind of revamp what's going on over there. They certainly have the personnel, like Jen and I talked about going into World Cup. They had 2 key players not playing. I think at this point we can say Taylor Morrow is pregnant, so congratulations to her. But she
All
wasn't
right.
playing World Cup, and then Sophie had hurt her leg, and she's on rehab and should be ready for Tampa. So I don't know what Taylor's schedule, if she's going to be playing WNXL next year. I think not, but I'd let Allie tell you guys that if she's playing or not.
Yeah, so let's talk about that real quick. So it's always funny because you go to an event and you're like, so and so. I think like when Billy's wife had a baby, it's like, oh, Billy can't be at this event because he's having a kid. Imagine if you couldn't play the whole season. Like, oh, we lost Billy or whoever for the whole season. It's very real, and so I know it's hard for Taylor to she obviously want to play. And Taylor, we played against Taylor's home team quite a few times this season, 3 times actually. We played against Nexus, which is her home team, and I've seen her around, so I know it's hard to like be involved with a WNXL team and a home team, and obviously not be able to play. Obviously, huge congratulations to Taylor and John, but it's definitely one of those things where you're out for a while compared to just missing a little bit. So, but yeah, I definitely think that impacted the high rollers for sure. I was hoping that they would make a kind of a comeback going into to Cup from last year's Cup and coming off of Ohio. And again, I still think the high rollers have a great roster. I think they had the team to do it. Unfortunately, just kind of came up short, which did allow the Sirens to make Sunday, which was big for them. Unfortunately, going into semifinals on Sunday, Sirens had to face Vibe, who has plenty of Sunday experience, and that was a little bit of a lopsided match. But overall, not a bad appearance for Sirens for sure.
Little anecdote. My wife actually played her last tournament 3 months pregnant in 2004.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah, she was a lot of fun to be around. So,
very cool.
Yeah.
It's certainly more impactful.
I do have while we're on the topic of the Cup, I do have a fun stat that you guys might like, because I know you guys are stats guys after all. But so going back to our prelim game, the Heroines prelim game against Vibe, and the fact that the Heroines lost that match to Vibe. So 3 World Cups, Vibe and the Heroines have faced off in prelims, and the team that loses the matchup in prelims wins World Cup every time.
Okay, because I happen to know that the Heroines and Vibe are the only 2 WNXL teams to have ever won World Cup.
That's correct.
Since the inception of the division in 22?
22 is the first year, so next year will be year number 5.
All right, so the Heroines have won it 3 out of 4 events.
Correct.
Well, Vibe has won it once. Okay, all right.
Yep, and in 2022...
See, I do my homework too, Jen.
There you go. And in 2022, Heroines and Vibe faced off in prelims. Heroines lost to Vibe, but then Heroines won Cup. In 2023, it was the exact opposite. The Heroines won in prelims against Vibe, and then Vibe came back and won Cup. And then this year was the same. So in 2024, they faced off in finals, but they did not play each other in prelims. So, but in terms of like, if they play in prelims, you almost don't want to win because historically 3 times the team that has lost that match has won Cup, which is just interesting.
That's an interesting stat.
Or pattern, however you want.
The Heroines have also not lost in the finals. So
the Heroines have never lost in any WNXL finals, not just Cup.
So you got to beat us in the semis.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The Heroines have only ever gotten 3rd or 1st. Ever. Nothing other than 3rd and 1st.
Either 1st or last. Ricky Bobby. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the finals match before we start getting into awards, nominations. We can talk a little bit about Team USA, even though on the women's side, before we get right into the combine.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, all right. So obviously we're playing for the second time. I'm pretty nervous that I don't want to make the same mistake of having Tata get shot. We talk as a team. I say, hey, this, I was actually talking to Jen's husband, Chaz, in the pit. And I said, hey, last minute, I just said, I'm not giving them anything to shoot at. They're going to have to beat us 5-on-5. They can take the snake. We'll take it later. And we knew Michaela wanted to kind of ghost up to that snake side can and try to shoot heads up to just shoot Tata going into the snake. So we just keyed up to shoot her and then took the other side of the field very quickly with Danny in .1. So luckily it worked. I talked to Michaela after the tournament and she said, I knew you were going to shoot me. Like I was trying to tell Casey that you were going to, there's no way you're going to let me do this again. And I was like, well, that's a fact. He goes, but I got to test their guns, which, as a coach too, sometimes you just have to say that, right?
Sure.
Well, let's see if they're hot. If they're hot, we'll adjust. If they're not, let them, have to prove that they're going to take it away. So we were lucky enough to take it away in the first point, and Danny went up to their side of the field on the Doritos side, and really, I think she had a 3 or a 4 pack pretty quickly in that first point.
Yeah.
And
Rojas, Rojas definitely made her presence known. And I love the scouting show on that first breakout, because by the Harris, you obviously see that you double the gun for the Vibe player that was ghosting up.
Yeah.
Because she was looking to take that center snake position and, off the break, and you guys took her off the board immediately. And then you go hyper aggressive D side. It just showed a different look based off what you're telling me.
Correct.
And the history. So well done. Great adaptation.
Yeah, it was something that we didn't show. We did it in practice, but we didn't show it really in the event. So we had it for that first point. The next point was kind of a grinder, the same type of thing. We're going to play them 5-on-5. We were able to grind that point out and win. It was taking some time off the clock, and then the third point, we were actually. We knew that they had to come a little bit, so they were starting to come. We were doing a good job, got them down to a 4-on-3 for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to call my poor little girl Tata out on this one, so don't be mad at Dad. But we were up 4-on-3. Tata felt like she had an opportunity to bunker out the snake from the snake side can. Got a little overzealous, and got shot. And then Danny felt she needed to fill, and she got shot on the fill. And I feel like that point, we kind of gave it away a little bit. You're up 2-0, you're up a body, make them have to come through you 3-on-4 was probably the play. I always reference, and anybody that's ever coached females, the League of Their Own, when Tom Hanks goes out and talks to the right fielder about keep missing the cutoff, and he's like trying to control himself. And I'm like, oh, Tata, why did we do that? No, it was the right move, Dad, it was the right move. Not the right move. So it's but we live and learn. We make better decisions hopefully as it comes. And Tata is an incredible player, definitely top 5 probably in the league. And so anyway, that particular point, I felt like, all right, now we got a time. Now there's an actual time essence here. So you're designing a play around time, but also it's 2-on-1. I felt like Vibe really took it to us on that third point, and probably should have won that point. Not just because Hadley running in and Nicole running in, more so. And again, not trying to throw people under the bus. This is the coach's show, and we're coming back to actually talk about points. I feel like Chloe might have been able to move down that snake a little bit easier, a little faster, and pinch Nana out or pinch Chica out a little quicker. I already had my overtime play. I was like, there's no way you're not winning this point. You're not losing this point. Because again, Vibe did a very good job of execution. There was a minute left, I think, and they were in a 4-on-3, and they were on our side of the snake. Like, we were just not in good spots. And so when the buzzer goes off, I was surprised that, and I almost waited a second, like, is that the buzzer that they hung, or is that the buzzer that time's done? And time was done. So I felt like we deserved to win the match, because I felt like we did the things we needed to do to win. But in that last point, I felt like they really did have the opportunity to tie the game up and put it into overtime.
Yeah,
I have that point queued up if you want to watch it.
Yeah, let's pull that up. I did want to talk about point 2, just real quick. My opinion, it looked like in point 2, you guys were just winning gunfights, right? Vibe was pressing the issue, and you guys were winning gunfights. Point 3, if Vibe pieces that closing together faster, then you're in overtime. Because
100%.
Yeah, we may be looking at, with, the pits behind the bunkers, it's difficult for the players to keep track of eliminations. And I think that's ultimately what happened to Vibe on that one, because it's like, wait a minute, they're not piecing this together. And then point 4, I feel like the last 4 Vibe players, obviously the clock situation there, Sereno, Nicole, all the others, they all had opportunity. We're all in position to clear out the last 2. around the 30-second mark instead of the 15-second mark. And so, yeah, I think there was 2 opportunities there by Vibe to make that a different, or take that into overtime.
Yeah, I think Chloe's trying to get into the snake now, and once she does, she's down to our side pretty quickly. If I remember right, there's well over a minute, and she's on our side of the field. So
yeah, and to that point, and like you're talking about, obviously the point of the show is to be critical. And Danny already texted me and said this herself, but she and I talked about this at length. Danny Rojas is in the snake side can in this point, which made Alexis and Krista double the back center for too long. So when Chloe was pushing the snake, Danny should have gotten out to that snake corner way sooner. So Danny also kind of did Chloe a favor and kind of gave her a little bit more freedom in the snake, which should have allowed them to, I think, pinch out those remaining back play. Because you look how Alexis is playing behind this bunker, because she's doubled up in there with Krista for so long. So Danny already knows that she should have gotten out of there in order to have this point actually not, be quite as closable for Vibe, I think, there.
I think on this play, though, aren't they already in our Dorito side wedge?
I think she could have made the move out before that.
Okay.
But at this point, I think Danny missed her window. So now she's just they're all living behind their guns. But I think earlier on, I think she felt a little bit more safe playing it tight and trying to burn clock instead of taking the risk to get out to that snake corner. I think I would have made the move as soon as Chloe got in there before either wedge gets set up, honestly.
Correct. Yeah. To your point, it's a window of time. Once it's taken away, if Danny, if Danny
goes out, she's her own worst enemy. Sorry,
goes out to that corner quicker, then yes. But once she didn't, and they're in that wedge, she's a free kill if she tries to go out there.
Yes, 100%. And nobody knows that more than she does. Trust me, that kind of thing haunts her. Even though she won, I know it does.
So they're at 30 seconds now. 30 seconds, and the 2 bodies are here. I don't think she stops there. I think she keeps crawling. And that's a different match.
Correct. And I'm sure Chloe
stopping here to load, instead, if she just goes around and gets the angle, it's over.
Yeah. And I'm sure she's beating herself up about, watching this over and over again as well. She's a good up and coming player. She's up there for Rookie of the Year. In my opinion, she probably is the Rookie of the Year. So I don't want to take anything away from her season. But I'm sure that, she would want that back as much as all the rest of the Vibe players there.
Understandable, too. I get it.
But it was a great match. It's a great rivalry. It's real. I love playing the Vibe teams. I know that whatever 5 players they put out there are going to be good. They're going to be coached well. I think that their infrastructure at fit and their mentality and culture produces wins. Obviously, that's without saying. So when we were prepping, I had no doubt that Vibe was going to be there. And once Angie left, people were talking, they may not make the playoffs. And I was like, I don't know what you're watching, but I know they're going to make the playoffs and they're probably going to be in the finals. So, so it was a great match, and shout out to them.
Excellent.
Yeah, I just dropped out because I was having some technical difficulties, and I don't know if you already mentioned this, Ant, but going back to Vibe and Chloe, Chloe definitely stepped up to your point about being a Rookie of the Year. So just to recap, Angie Tejeda, which was kind of the starting front snake and to some degree for Vibe throughout this year, departed Vibe, went to FEMS for World Cup. Angie played great for the FEMS, but it kind of left a hole for Vibe and some shoes to fill. And they did get Leslie Cluis back, who was kind of one of the original snake players for Vibe from the start, but Chloe definitely stepped up. So despite it not, that point not being perfect, she definitely had a really good tournament, I think.
And I guess it's time we could probably insert a little move alert right here, which kind of really sucks for Vibe. Is that Chloe Serrano is going to the FEMS. So
wow, you heard it here.
You heard it here first.
So there's a couple things that go along with that. So one, that puts the FEMS over the limit. So just a reminder for everybody, the WNXL roster limit is 10 compared to standard NXL X-ball limit is 12. So you can only have 10 players on a WNXL roster, and I believe the FEMS are already at 10 for World Cup. So something's going to have to change at the FEMS. We don't know what that means, but it should be something, we'll see what happens. And of course, for Vibe, like I mentioned, they were already running 7 players and kind of 6 at Cup that I saw in terms of rotation. So Vibe definitely going to be running a little short. So I'm curious what they will do to adjust, or if there will be any pickups for them. I know they have a really good amateur team, the Dallas Dolls, who actually, while we're on the topic, won the series for the WNXL 3v3, and they were right behind the New Jersey High Rollers, who won the series for the WNXL Amateur Division 5v5. So, I mean, they definitely are all the time fostering up new talent down there in Texas. So I'll be curious to see what Vibe does in the offseason. But that is the first big move that we've seen.
That's a big one.
That is a big one. And that's a shakeup, right? It's not just about the player itself. It's about the ramifications it's going to have to 2 different programs. So,
yeah. I think she was really good friends with Angie, and that kind of was what gravitated her over to the Femmes. To Jen's point, I'm pretty sure the Femmes had 10 with Tammy not playing at World Cup. So if and when Tammy does come back, they might have 2 players that they need to come off the roster. But
Tammy, they had 10 players at Cup on their roster with Tammy included.
Oh, with Tammy included. Okay.
So if Tammy doesn't play, then
then they're Gucci.
Yeah. No, I thought they had 10 without Tammy. So that means they really only have potentially 1 person to move. And they Dan's a great coach. The Adamsons have a great organization over there. I think that they already have a plan in place of what they're doing. They're not going to pick somebody up without having some type of plan. But it is interesting. The Femmes pick up another attacker.
I was about to say that, Ant. Definitely. And we talked about this in the last show. Definitely a team that likes to play a lot of points. No shortage of, attackers on that team on all sides of the field, including the center.
I mean, I'm here for that energy.
I am too. It makes for exciting paintball.
Let's go.
It's super exciting. The Femmes matches are always probably the most exciting matches in the WNXL, without a doubt. One thing I will say about the Femmes, just, historically, like we talked about, they always do like to play a lot of points. But what I like about this year for the Femmes, which in my opinion, they are the breakout team of the year. We can get into the nominees, but the Femmes had a breakout year for sure. And the difference is that I think they harnessed their style a little bit better. And I don't know if that's Dan. I don't know, where that comes from, but they are fine tuning their style into a more, I think, productive format, so to speak. I'm losing the right words.
More purpose in the way they attacked, where it wasn't lawless, like people just kind of moving forward for the sake of moving forward. Relatively familiar with this style. It looked like there was more creative tempo in the way that they were launching, right? We're going to do this and this is going to happen. Now we're going to go here and this space is going to open up. Now we're going to go here. It looked like they were much more coordinated in their attack.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree, Jen.
Well, we'll circle back to when we get to the nominees. I know Jen and I have some stats on what to kind of back up what Jen just said about the Femmes potentially being the breakout team of the year. But I know that Dan and Andrea and Monty and Tammy, a lot of the experienced players over there have really contributed this year to trying to have a more organized chaos, I guess. And they really do play off of it well, and they're very hard to scout in certain ways. They're going to come, you just don't know where. And by having more tools, that variation can happen anywhere on the field. You have Casey; she had a great year. We'll get into that. I think she's nominated as one of the Dorito players. She was a stalwart over there on the Dorito side for them. Roxy has got multiple nominations. Angie has multiple nominations, and so they have a very good team. But the league itself is in really good shape right now. Before I want to circle back to World Cup in a second, but I'm going to start with there are multiple teams trying to enter the WNXL right now. There's a possible expansion on the table. We're kind of vetting some different options. As part of the owners meeting, we agreed that if it made sense, we're going to do it. As an organization, we don't like putting teams in the same markets. Not quite yet. The women don't have the player base that the rest of the men have. So we're going to make sure that we're not fighting over the same player base. So there are different things that go into us marketing, as well as making sure, again, that an organization has the right investment and the right kind of organization, because this isn't going to be a one and done. We don't want teams that are in this for the short term. And all of the owners know that. They're usually tied to owning fields, and that is a really good recipe for homegrown talent, which we know is kind of a trend right now, because Paintball Fit has made it work, and the Uprising guys, and you know, there are different teams that are showing that you don't have to travel around and you can create a really good program, and it's maybe more cost effective to invest in the players that are local to you, and maybe spend a little bit more money on practicing or practice paint or whatever those resources are, versus flying people all in and around. So whether it be some of the newer teams, I believe the Jungle Cats are local to each other. Most of the Hurricanes, I know they have like three guys that fly in, like Camp and Nick Ripple and guys like that. But I think as long as you can get your base all in one place, it seems like that might be a more recipe for success long term, versus a Diesel that was trying to bring all these pieces together, or anybody else. It works for some people, and even some people were like, oh, Damage is a super team, but it's a super team that has 2 new pieces instead of 5 new pieces. So the core of that team's been together forever. So I think that hopefully the WNXL is going to emulate the teams that, it's almost like, unfortunately, you got to emulate the low budget teams, right? Because there is no budget in the WNXL. So you're looking at emulating programs that can do it a cost effective way. And the Femmes and Heroines are probably the outlier teams that a lot of our players do fly in for practice. So we need to offer some amenities that other teams don't, because our girls are paying to fly to these practices and stuff. So we try to offset some of that cost for them. Last thing I wanted to say before we wrapped up on World Cup was Brooklyn Finals MVP. She played really great. Shooting Michaela off the break in that first point really set the tone for us, and she played solid the whole event. And then I really, really have to give a shout out to Nana, who was the overall event MVP, and not only won WNXL World Cup, I think she's the first one to do it, because only the females are really allowed to do it, is play in the same division and win World Cup D2. So the rejects won, and they were pitting on the other end of the field. 5 minutes goes up on the clock. Nana grabs her backpack and her gun and runs down the stands of the like where all the fans are on the stand side, not the VIP. You know, she's only 4 foot, 5 foot high. She, the metal cable with the banners. I just see a little head and arms. Dad. I grab her gun, and then she looks at me like, I got to pick you up. So I got to fling her up over the cable, get her in the pit. She's first point. She's got 2 minutes. Everybody's trying to help her. She runs out, and we're first point. And she makes it out there and plays the whole. I think she played every point in the final. So she won back-to-back World Cups as a D2 champion, WNXL champion. I think there's a picture with her with her belt and 4 rings, and she won the series obviously too. So shout out to her. She had an amazing season. Nominated for Player of the Year, and I'm biased, but I feel like if you really take in the body of work with her playing D2, winning World Cup, her playing WNXL, pretty much every point, and playing the way that she played this year, that no disrespect to the other candidates, as well as Danny, Danny is a beast out there and can play anywhere on the field and does anything asked. They should be the front runners in my opinion, but again, biased. So I just wanted to shout out to that before we hit some nominations.
I love it. I think that's a great segue into the nominations. Absolutely. 100%. These things are fun to me. I'm excited about these types of things. Of course, it's really cool that the Coaches Show was nominated, but I do enjoy these. I love having these conversations with people and understanding the whys, right? Why these people are here, and why you think your candidate should be the winner. So let's hop into these bad boys.
Also, just to add, this is the first year that WNXL awards will be determined by popular vote. Historically, I think they were done by committee, essentially the WNXL team owners and I think certain other pieces into the committee, but this will be the first time that WNXL is open to the public vote. So it should be interesting for sure.
In your experience, guys, with the men's, did you feel like popular vote ends up getting it right more times than not? Or is it no? Okay.
I wouldn't say it does, no.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my fear going into this is just
when you just said that, Jen, when you said that it was open to the, I went, oh great, now it's a
Yep.
Yeah, it tends to be a popularity contest versus, but at least you were nominated by your peers. So I like that aspect of it, is that just so people know how this happens, it happens on the men's side and the women's side equally, is that you're putting 4 nominees in for each category and you cannot choose your own players. So then they just tally up whatever players have the most votes. So when you're looking at these nominations, you're nominated by your peers. This wasn't like random. This wasn't fan voted. So now you have your nominations and now the fans vote. So
and it's basically as simplistic as I'm about to put it, but being nominated, you are recognized by your peers as being this person. So in a way, to your point, just being nominated is very cool. You're being recognized by your peers in your role. So I think that's fantastic. Although I'm with Ryan. I don't like the popularity vote. I think it's wonderful that they get to vote, but I think what you should do is you should have the committee vote and then you should show the popular vote off to the side.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe separate it some way, but
yeah.
I love Ryan Brand, and I think he is an amazing coach. How last year Casey Harris or Max did not win Coach of the Year, I'll never understand. That I'll never get, right? So sometimes they do get it right because their favorite player is the best player that year, right? So sometimes they do get it right, but the reality is, in my opinion, no, they don't.
Ryan, how do you feel about the Red Legion nominations for this year, with Kirill getting the nom for Player of the Year?
I mean, I love that, right? I think Karslev is the most aggressive Dorito attacker maybe on planet Earth. He just never stops. But yeah, I think for the most part they got it right. Yeah.
Well, listen,
but those were all done by us, right?
Correct.
Like we all,
yeah.
So I think all of the nominations that are on there, Jacob Seabaugh as Player of the Year, I think is just got to be a slam dunk. I don't know how any other names are on there other than we had to put 5. I would have put Jacob Seabaugh 5 times if that would have been appropriate. But I like the way Jason did it this year. We're sending this out to your peers are going to decide these are the people we play against. This guy is always a problem. I want to vote on that person. Same thing with the women. This person's always a problem. We're going to vote for that person. Right. So I like the way that they did it this year. I think it was a little cleaner. Right. But then we do get to the popular vote, which we'll see. We'll see.
Well, let's jump right into Player of the Year. I don't know if you can pull it up, or if not, I have it. But.
What? If I can pull it up. You think this is spick and span?
We don't have that cool technology. What are you talking about? Look at my office. There's no technology here.
I do have an electric guitar.
Yeah, it's old school. It's not midied. So
it's gonna be big. Is that okay?
Oh, whatever's easy. I have a list, so I can talk.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, either way.
I am like tiny little writing, but lots of.
That's good enough.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, Jen. How
you want to do this, Ant?
You do this.
There's a lot of things here, so I don't want to take 500 years. So we'll just.
You guys are gonna have to zip through this.
Yeah. We'll just hit some of the major things here. Player of the Year. I think there's definitely some that nobody would be surprised to see. Nana Blanco, aka Andrea Blanco, and Danny from the Heroines, obviously the team that has won 2 events this year. But you also have Roxy and Angie from the Femmes. And just a reminder, this is, I think a lot of people get a little bit blindsided by just Cup, but this is for the entire year. So obviously you have Angie here for Femmes. Angie was previously on Vibe, made an impact on both teams. I'm not too surprised to see her here. I am surprised to see Bianca Fitz on here. Bianca's great. Bianca was someone who I had in mind for one of the breakout players of the year, but I was very, very surprised and happy for Bianca to see her listed here as player of the year. I think she's definitely a player that's on the come up and people are starting to know her name a little bit more. So I like this list. I think that there's some names that could have also been on this list, but I agree with Anthony. The front runner is going to be, I personally think either Heroines player. I think both of them are extremely valuable to the Heroines in their roles. And but I think I would not be surprised to see it go to Nana Blanco.
Yeah, my quick thing is Bianca. She's completely invested in the sport, complete female athlete. So I'm happy that she's on the list. Am I slightly surprised? Yes, but very, very deserving in the fact that she's a grinder and a gamer. And I say that I use that word sparingly, but when I do use it, I mean it. And I think that's the biggest compliment you can give an athlete is to be a gamer. So
I think she's got an excellent name.
All right, we'll move down. I'll do Dorito of the year here, and we'll go down in columns. So Corinne's probably one of the more stable, very solid. You know what you're going to get every point. She never has a bad point. So I think she's awesome as Doritos. Nana, same things, super aggressive, has all the tools. Bella for the high rollers, she's always playing over there. Between her and Carly, I like that vote as well. Casey Erb, even though the Femmes messed things around on both sides of the field, Casey was kind of the stalwart on that side for them. I like that. And Yays, again, Suricatos made the playoffs in Ohio. I'm not surprised to start seeing some of their players make it to this list.
Yeah, for sure. Just kind of, just to touch on it real quick. I do think that it's interesting going back to the Suricatos nomination for the player of the year. Typically, you don't, for player of the year, at least in the WNXL, you're going to see mostly made up of teams that are winning or at the top. And I think it's really interesting not to see any Vibe players there. Reminder, this was voted on by the teams. So this is all, by committee of WNXL teams. But I was shocked not to see any Vibe players there. Again, not upset about it, but where are we going now? We're going across, we going down?
You can go to breakout player.
Okay. Looks like we're going down. There we go. Yep. So breakout player, again, you're going to see Bianca there. Hadley is kind of interesting. So Hadley won our breakout player of the year last year. I didn't know you could win breakout player 2 years in a row, but hey, the people have decided. So Hadley back in to be a contender for a double player, breakout player of the year. Obviously the kid is fantastic, and I call her a kid because she literally is. I think she's 16 years old. Obviously, one of the quickest learners, becoming, in my opinion, one of the best players in the league. Hadley, in my opinion, deserved a nomination, skipping around here, but she deserved a nomination for Flex Player of the Year. In my opinion, she played all over the field. So, I think Hadley had a great year. Do I think that we should be repeating breakout player? Probably not, but I would have liked to have seen Hadley nominated in some other categories. Aaron Scott, from basically the owner and leader of Northern Lights, stepped up in a lot of their matches this year, so not too surprised to see her there. And then quickly, Paige Vassar for Ohana. Paige, reminder, came from one of the top teams of rollers, came back to her home team at Tiki's, and basically was kind of the veteran player for them. She played both sides of the field. I think she's also nominated for Flex Player as well as Offensive Player. She had a fantastic year, especially leading one of the not top teams to some close games. So a solid year for Paige. And then Dallas coming back this year for the Femmes. I think she played a little bit, like Anthony mentioned, the Femmes kind of play every position, which is awesome for them. So I think she had I didn't get to see too much of Dallas this year personally, but I heard she had some really good games. So
yeah, the only exception I see there, and maybe it might have been, I can make the argument Hadley could have been player of the, in the player of the year category as well. Is to see Kelly Watson. I think Jen and I agree that she was probably a notable person not in the breakout list. I'm supposed to, I think, call you out, Ryan, that you said that she wasn't in.
I didn't know.
All right, I'm just.
How can we, Ryan, a name so close to Keely Watson? How can we forget? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Seriously, I'm coaching the Marines. we're playing Navy maybe in the in the finals or in the preliminary rounds. I don't remember who she was playing. It was the preliminary round, I think. And I literally had to set up 2 different plays that if you go out and you're the second one on that side and you see her lined up, if she's lined up here, you have to stay here at home and shoot this because she'll release. If you don't shoot her there, immediately go to the can and she'll be on the wrap and you have to shoot her heads up. Like set up plays to shoot her because she shot our snake guy 2-3 times from that wedge. Like she was a problem. Like,
I'm glad you mentioned
it was a problem.
I do think Kelly is, in my opinion, probably my breakout player of the year. And she's not even on this list. So I special shout out to Kelly. I think Kelly has improved tremendously since she started in the WNXL. And I think she's a name that people deserve to know. Not to be confused with Keely Watson for those that know of Keely. But yeah, shout out Kelly Watson for sure.
But she is listed. She is on Flex Player of the Year, though, correct?
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay.
No.
I thought she was.
I didn't see her anywhere on the list because
she should be on breakout player of the year.
I did look for her.
So, and I apologize.
Just so you know,
does that not say Katie Kelly under Flex Player of the Year?
That's Katie Kelly. No, not Kelly Watson.
Kelly Watson.
I'm sorry. I was thinking. Okay, my apologies.
My man needs to get his eyes checked, but
well, it's tiny on my screen, dude. It's so tiny.
Here, I can make it bigger, but I'm gonna make myself really old really quick. The first game I ever refereed at an NPPL event was World Cup in 1997, 5-on-5, and it was the family with Keely Watson and Chris Lasoya was playing with them. And I had never seen her in real life, and she was really pretty.
That's where we're at. All right, on to offensive player of the year.
Yeah,
she was
also really good.
Player award.
She was also really good.
Yeah.
All right, offensive player of the year.
All right, I got this one. So we got Nana Blanco, Roxy Montano, Angelina Tejeda, Alicia Valdivia, and Paige Vassar. All very offensive players for sure. These are your attackers. Paige, I feel, had a really great season. There are some notable people that, again, this list, there's so many good attackers in this league. You know, Tata could have been on this list. There's lots of players that could be here. So I just want to say congratulations to the people that are. Every one of those are people that you have to plan game plans around. To Ryan's take on Kelly is that they're problems. So you got to address them. So congrats to the offensive players of the year right there. I want to go down to snake player. Speaking of attackers.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most accurate list that we have of all of the lists here in terms of what I would have expected. All of these players are fantastic snake players in their own right. Obviously, Tata, a phenomenal snake player. You know, and that's the thing is I think Tata is one thing that I think makes her such a great snake player is to your point about being less predictable and pulling her short in the finals and having her switch up her style of play. Tata is an excellent communicator, and that's something that, and I'm not saying snake players aren't great communicators, but she is probably the best communicator out of a snake player that I've played with in a long time. And so I definitely think Tata has a lot to offer, tons of experience as well. But that being said, Veda is probably the most athletic player in the league, definitely a weapon, definitely somebody that you're going to be trying to stop off the break anytime you can. So tons of weapons here. Chloe, standout year. Roxy, you know, had a fantastic year. Team USA this year for Roxy as well as Angie. So definitely, I think one of the most accurate lists, nominee lists that we've seen so far.
Agreed. Breakout team of the year. So this one here, what Jen and I talked about. So we'll start from the bottom and work our way up. So you think of FEMS, you know, they're a successful organization. They've always been right there. Since the inception of the league, but breakout to me means you broke through. So you broke through to that next tier, that next, you know, that next gear. So the FEMS never won a playoff game until this year, and not only did they win playoff games, they won an event. They came in second, they came in third. So they were fourth place or worse every event prior to this year. So to me, that's a breakout team of the year, in my opinion. Even though Suricatos, they had a great year. They made the playoffs for the first time. The Sirens, as the Sirens, they made the first time as a playoff, I believe. I think they made it as Diamonds once prior. The Angels, they had, they won 2 matches and were very close in, I think, two of the 3 events. So Nevermore's, same thing. They were knocking on the door of the playoffs in Ohio, in their first year. So this is, I think, the right list as well. I just tend to lean towards the Fems a little bit because I know how hard it is to get to that next level. But out of respect for the other teams, it's the same thing. For you to go from winning 0 matches to 2 matches and is a big step too. So each one of these teams is deserving to be in this bracket because they've all taken that next step.
Yeah, but this was truly a breakout year for the Fems. Absolutely. Like you mentioned, Ant, they took 4th, I think, almost every event for 3 seasons, leading up to now. And they definitely, like we talked about earlier, kind of harnessed their roster and their style of play and found what worked for them, and truly had obviously their best year by far. And I'm very excited to see what they do this coming year. So they get my vote without question, the Fems here. And again, no disrespect for the other teams, but the Fems have definitely showed some resilience throughout the WNXL to get to where they're at now. All right, Coach of the Year.
Let's save that for the end. Coaches
okay.
showing off.
Yeah.
All right, Ant, you want to take this one? The next one's Heron's loaded, so however you want to do it.
Oh, the flex.
Yeah, I just don't know if you. I know sometimes you don't. You don't want to talk all about the heroines. I can do either. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, no, this one's fine. I feel, and no disrespect to the 4 heroines that are on this list, I do feel this one had some people left off of it too. But congratulations to the 4 heroines that are on it: Katie, Krista, Chica, Brooklyn, and I'm sorry, I can't read. I'm trying to move that up. The last flex player, I'm looking at a list like, I think Hadley could have easily been on this list. Paige is definitely deserving to be on this list. She played as an attacker on both sides of the field. I haven't seen her play too much of the 2 and too much of the 3, if not at all. So that's why I'm saying like a Hadley who kind of plays all over. Maybe a Janaea Curtis, that she's not an attacker, but she can play a lot of places. Maybe Janaea should have been on the defensive player of the year list. So excited to see all of the heroines on here, as well as Paige for Flex Player of the Year. Katie Kelly is just a weapon. You can use her all over the place. Her experience. Danny is a physical talent, and her IQ is growing and growing. So, and same with Brooklyn. Very physical. Be able, for a tall girl, she can get real small, get right in the snake, can play all over. And Chica has just got so much experience. If there was a best teammate award, Chica would win, hands down. No other nominees needed. She's moving into a captain's role. She was a captain of Team USA, so she's a great player all around too. So I can't say anything bad about any of these players in this list. And there was a couple other people that could have been deserving to be on this list as well, but can only take 5.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. And I definitely would have put Hadley in this list, especially coming from only in basically her second year of the WNXL, being able to play pretty much. I think she played all sides of the field. She was, a huge weapon for Vibe. I would have liked to have seen her in this category. And kind of jumped out of my order here, so I'll go back up to defensive, I guess. But yeah, again, let's see, looking at this list, we have some people who have been nominated for this award before. I think Lisette was nominated for this last year, as well as Krista Titus, who won it last year. We have Katie on here as well from the heroines. And fun fact, I actually consider Katie kind of an offensive player. Katie is the kind of person that you have to be like, hang on, don't go just yet. She's definitely likes to attack. She likes to break the game open through the center, which is why I think she was such a great nominee for the Flex Player of the Year as well. But yeah, Heather actually won I believe it was overall or finals MVP at Tampa. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was overall, and I think Tammy won finals. Tammy had a fantastic finals in Tampa this year when the Femmes won their first event. But Heather definitely held it down for them. I think she was a key player for them in their only win this year. Nicole Gates, a new pickup for Vibe this year, a former heroine, a former cheetah, fit right into Vibe's kind of starting roster and played pretty much every point for them. Great off the break shooter. Definitely, a weapon if you're trying to make your spot off the break. And then same for Lisette. Lisette is a player that I thought was going to be a little bit more of an attacker when she kind of first started playing, and she's slowly, I think, found her ground as more of a defensive player in the sense that she's really good in low body situations. She's really good at closing out the point at the end of the game. So Lisette definitely a solid defensive player as well. I think this is a pretty good list. Again, I think that you could have argued that Janaea Curtis could be in this list, but I do think she was a little bit more of a flex player as well. She played both sides of the field this year for the high rollers, but yeah, I don't see any issues here.
No, just because we know them more than anybody else, Jen,
Right.
I would say Janaea over Katie in that spot. No disrespect to Katie, but to your point, more times than not, you have to tell Katie not to go. So.
Oh yeah, there's been times when I'm playing with Katie where she's like on a job and I can see her like she's getting bored with the job and she wants to go. I'm like, no, hang on, give me 5 more seconds and then you can go launch. So Katie is she's such a bullet, man. She's such a fun person to play with. But yeah, you kind of got to make her be defensive sometimes. But yeah, a great list here.
All right, so Rookie of the Year, Cassidy Bernaski from Northern Lights. She's one of the 3 players I think they picked up this year and really kind of rejuvenated their roster. So that was a good job of kind of when you have that high turnover, but you can still be competitive in every point. That's why I always give props to the Northern Lights. I watched them practice. I scouted them because we were playing them in prelims. I scouted them in practice, and their second moves were real crispy, and Cassidy was definitely part of that. Carly Colomesta, when we were playing, I think it was Ohio, we played in the prelims, and Carly was the first attacker, I believe, in that match. She was playing a lot more in front of Bella, and so she's a great nominee for Rookie of the Year. Brittany Reed, same thing with the Nevermores. She definitely has proven that she's a leader on that new team, so I think she's going to get a lot of votes. We already talked about Chloe Sereno. I think she's played above a rookie this season, so she's got a really high ceiling. And then Morgan Whipple of the newly, it's going to be called, it's going to be Voltage, but so it's Thunder Mountain Voltage is going to be
Thunder Valley.
Thunder Valley.
Yeah.
I want to go on the ride. I've messed that up almost every time that I've said it. So it's Thunder Valley Voltage is going to be the rebrand, but Morgan is one of their great rookies as well. So congratulations to all these Rookie of the Year nominees.
Coach of the Year.
That's the one. There you are, Ant. So we've got Anthony Vitale, whoever that guy is, coaching the heroines these days.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of her.
Yeah. Anthony's not going to say this, so I'll say it. Obviously, on the heroines, we're coached by Brad McCurley, one of the best coaches that I've ever seen in my entire life for the majority of the heroines past couple seasons. And, it was time for Brad to take a seat somewhere else. And Anthony stepped up and took the reins of not only, the ownership role, which is a lot of stuff behind the scenes that nobody sees, but also decided to coach the heroines this year as well. And I think he definitely, and I think that's a big shoes to fill when you're a team that's, a winning team with a history of coaching such as that. So, huge shout out to Anthony for carrying the heroines this year from the clipboard. But of course, we have some other nominees here. We have Alex Delmar coaching Nevermores. Alex, a former heroines player, a former high rollers player, and is now coaching a WNXL team. So she did a great job with the Nevermores this year in their first season. Like Anthony already mentioned, they were right on the doorstep of a playoff spot in their second event ever in Ohio, literally inches away. So I definitely think that you'll see more of them in due time. We've got I'm skipping around here, but we got Cole Scott of the Northern Lights, formerly with, I think, Impact and the Uprising Camp, husband to Aaron Scott. doing everything he can to make the lights competitive. And I think that experience shows without question. So not surprised to see him there. And then last but not least, Daniel Lee of the Femmes. I've already said a million times that I think that Daniel is probably a key piece in their kind of harnessing of their talent and their style this year. So definitely not a bad list here. But, I think it kind of comes down to the teams that won the events this year. And obviously Daniel and Anthony both kind of co-coached Team USA in Paris as well, the women's team this year. So both of those guys had really great years for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring there. And again, I think Daniel is a major piece of why the Femmes broke through this year. A great guy. He's always been around the team and supported them. And he got the opportunity to kind of have the full reins this year for the first time. And that isn't a coincidence that, they broke through and really started being a contender at every event.
Yeah, love that.
All right. So we talked about some moves. I'm going to talk about a bad move that I don't like, which is there's Krista Titus is thinking about not playing next year. So that is a kind of bummer for me and the Heroines. So we don't know for sure. She might just be taking some time off to get some life stuff going, but that is a reality that I'm starting to try to deal with.
She's one of my favorite players.
Same.
Yeah, she's been around since the inception. She's actually been around since 2019 when we started talking Team USA. So it's funny to say she's an OG, only being around for 6 or 7 years, but that's really when the women's took off was in 2019. So she's been around since that beginning.
Yeah. And to your point, and Krista's one of the best teammates I think that I've ever had in terms of just general morale and attitude. She and I were co-captains on Heroines in my last season, and that was one of the best experiences, was getting to share, my time in the WNXL with Krista Titus. So huge shout out to her. She had a great career.
Not retired yet. You're not even retired yet. We don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow.
That's right.
With you. So
well, let's talk a little bit about Tampa 2026. So we're playing in a stadium. The WNXL is going to be there with their top 4 teams. The men are going to be there with their top 8 teams. If we can talk about that a little bit, it's going to be Heroines versus the Rollers and Vibe versus Femmes. Do you guys know the matchups for the men?
Yeah. Well,
I was going to say, actually, I don't think
it depends on what they call themselves and how they end up re-ranking some of these teams coming in.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah. So yes, but no. Right.
Right. So if they take Tauntaun's Arsenal and actually put them in the Tauntaun spot, then
but they can't.
But they can't because Collision bought that spot, which when you buy the spot, the position goes with it.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
So they would get the Arsenal spot?
There's a lot
LA
of
Collision will be the 6th seed moving into the next season.
But there's a lot of conversation going on, right? And of course, everybody's waiting for Tom to return from his safari.
Right.
Once he gets back, I'm sure they'll get all of this figured out. But and I probably should talk to Jason about this. But the way I understand it, is exactly what Mike said. When you sell the spot, you sell the seed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So technically, LA Collision would become the 6th seed, and Tauntaun Arsenal becomes the 11th seed, and they would be out, which would be a shame, right? Like that for them to play as well as they did, have the year that they had, and then not get to play in the stadium kind of sucks, right? But yeah, it's not good. But that whole thing that they're going to do on Thursday in Tampa is going to be amazing.
It is.
It's amazing. Like, tech class is going on all day. You'll have the new 3-on-3 pro league that will be happening during the morning hours. And then you'll have the I think it's one pro game, men's pro game, the WNXL, and then another men's pro game.
That's right.
And then the summit starts, Summit Award show starts immediately after. Everything will be up on the big Jumbotron. So from what I understand is one half of the field is going to be the paintball field and the other half is going to be all the summit stuff. So It's going to be interesting for the guys and gals who are just finishing playing and going to smell a little funky to walk over to the summit. And I guess we'll be spraying on a bunch of bad acts and things, but yeah, we'll see. But I love what they're trying to do. I think it's really cool.
Absolutely.
I mean, can you imagine playing under those lights, what that's going to look like?
Yeah, I can only imagine. I'm very hopeful that it's going to go off without a hitch, and it might be one of the tools that breaks us through to the next level. I know that the NXL is always trying things. Some people don't like everything that they try, but I still like people and positioning yourself to keep trying something. If you don't try, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get the same old. So
I don't love everything they do, but I do love that they continue to try stuff.
Right.
Bingo.
They just keep like making change. You're like, hey, we're gonna try this. We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna try this. We're gonna see what happens. And then, when it blows up, they eat it right. That is, in my opinion, the best thing about Tom. When it sucks right away, he's like, all right, we won't do it again.
Yeah.
Well, that sucked.
Oops. But we wanted to try it,
You guys remember when they changed the name of the divisions? That was the one.
When they threw that out there and everybody right away threw a fit.
Ooh,
and they right away were
minds.
like, okay, our bad. We won't do any of this.
That's right.
So, yeah.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. Let's talk about the combine. One of my absolute favorite things of the year.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. Jen, do you want to hang around for all this stuff or you want to go?
No, that's fine. I can hang around.
I'd like her to hang. She's been part of.
Dad told me I had to stay.
Yeah.
So.
Then you got to stay.
Then you got to stay.
The combine this year is going to be hopefully just as good, if not better than every year. Ryan, you're coming again, right? We got yourself, we got Greenspan. Colt Luckow is new this year and is very excited. Obviously, he's going to be on the break shooting drill and really trying to hone people in on his skill set. We've got Nick Slowiak coming back. We've got Keith Brown this year that's going to be part of the snake drill. Definitely one of the elite, if not the elite, snake player. We've got, again, Coach Gray coming. Marcelo will be there scouting for Team USA, as well as Kyle Berry. And then special appearance from Chica, the heroine. She helped last year, and she'll be helping out again this year.
Is Mike Bianca invited?
He's absolutely invited. I don't know if he's coming.
We got to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in the green room.
Okay.
In the green
room. You are always invited. You have a standing invite for Team USA and Combine at all times.
God bless you, Anthony.
We'll get the same house again too. That house was huge.
Nice.
That thing. I didn't even see, I don't think, 1/3 of the house. It was a massive home.
Yes.
Remember that one?
I swear Mike and I were like, I felt like we were in a completely different house.
We were. There was the communal kitchen, and then that's it. We
had to go walk through this. You went through a dark hallway where there were some rocks, and then you went up a set of stairs that were sort of rickety, and then you got to the top, and it's like this opened up into this beautiful other house.
Yeah,
I was like, this is weird.
Quite literally.
The layout was completely bizarre, Jen.
I believe it. I've seen some funky Airbnbs. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I think it was 3 houses they put together.
It really was. I think it was 3 houses
so
built
weird
onto each other.
Well, we're half full now. We put out the jerseys. We have a home and an away. And when it comes to the drills, Saturday, it's the 5 standard drills. They've been out for 2017, I think, is when we started them. You can go up and take a look at the leaderboard. So many unique players that are now pro and are playing at a high level are on there. It's kind of cool to go back and take a look at that leaderboard. I think, with women and men alike, there's nearly 50 pros that have gone through the combines and have gone through BKI, Team USA, and are now pro, which is, a testament to the program working and the networking that you get by coming through the program and through the combine and through Team USA. So check out those 5 drills. If you're going to want to be successful, you really do need to prepare, though. You got to go onto the Paintball Combine site. You got to look at the drills, hopefully set them up prior at your local field. Maybe even sometimes in your backyard they work. They're not full field drills. They're the most is half field drills. The breakout shooting is the only one that's a little rough to do at home. But if you got the backyard, you can do it. But please look at everything if you are going to participate in the combine. Coming prepared is definitely going to take some of the nerves off. I always say this about the combine is you're out there by yourself. It's very nerve wracking. You don't have a teammate to your left or your right. You're out there sliding under a snake, a little stick that's 42 inches or whatever it is off the ground. And you're out there all by yourself. And I know that a lot of players, they really just want to get that snake drill one out of the way and then get on to the other ones. But everybody will have their strengths and weaknesses. We do give prizes away for the best scores for every one of the individual drills, as well as an overall for who does the best for all 5 drills combined. I believe Owen won it last year, Jen, right? He won the overall.
Yep.
Pinch, so congrats to him. You know, a great player for Team USA, gold medalist in the U19. Did he announce where he's playing next year yet?
No, he did not, and I don't want to break the news, so I'll let that stay. But no, but just to touch on that, Owen Pinch, winner of the combine. He's a former teammate of mine on underground and D2 this year. Kind of helped bring him up through the ranks and got him, a spot over there at the combine and said, hey, take this opportunity, and it's worked out for him. So he's going to be playing semi-pro next year. So to your point, Anna, I think one of the most valuable things is not just going and winning the combine, but it is kind of that networking aspect and meeting some of the peers your age. Because, I mean, even to that point, like Owen was playing with us on underground, and even Tommy Hawkins, who is currently on Wrecking Crew and won, semi-pro MVP at Cup. When he was with us on underground, he was much younger than the rest of us. So another thing is kind of getting to know a lot of your peers. There are a lot of young players that head out to the combine from all over the world and are all over the country more. So just I think getting to meet those people who are kind of on that same trajectory and want the same things you do and are looking to grow as players. It's just a good community experience, even beyond just, the fact of the combine. So,
I'll say this too about the networking. Every kid I made an offer to this year in the off season, except one I met at the combine.
Yep.
Every kid except one.
Think about that, the the Red Legion made offers to players that Ryan met at the combine. Think about that. That's impactful. I don't want to gloss over this. I especially want to get it. I want to stay on the networking and what it all does, but I don't want to gloss over this just yet, Anthony, because let's talk about those 5 drills. Let's talk about the snap drill, the breakout drill, the lateral slide, I believe is what it's called. And then you got a run and gun. Am I missing something?
Breakout.
I thought I said the breakout one, but okay. The snake drill. And then there's the snake drill. So those 5 drills you can go to, is it paintballcombine.com?
Yes, sir.
And it'll have a list of the different drills, and it'll show you the metrics of it, the guardrails, what you're looking for, why you're looking at, and it's a great fundamental workout. You should be doing these things anyway, not just for the combine, but you should be doing these things anyway. And I just wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of talk about those a little bit if you wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the drills are all relatively fundamental. There's, as you speed it up and as you progress in the drill, even if it's something that you want to do yourself, not that I don't want you to come to the combine. If you don't come to the combine, still set these drills up. There are benchmarks for, you making progress in your paintball career. If you can do these with a little bit more finesse, you can do them a little quicker. You can do them more accurate. We do put the emphasis on accuracy. So please make sure that you're hitting your targets before you try to really speed it up. And that's the same for really all the drills. You get penalized more for missing targets than you could just speeding it up. So that's one thing you want to really hone in on, is making sure that you're hitting the targets. Again, these are our fundamental drills, but when we as scouts, coaches are looking, this is more of a fundamental thing, as far as there's an eye test to everything, right? You guys are coaches. There's a way about someone that kind of knows what they're doing versus not know what they're doing. And I feel like these fundamentals will kind of harness you into doing things correctly. So when you do showcase your talent in front of somebody, you pass the eye test. And that's usually the first test that you have to pass. And that's how you get the invite, or, okay, I'm going to go back and watch this kid on Sunday because doing the drills, it looked like they knew what they were doing. Even if they don't really check your times, like I don't check your times as you're doing it. I have that eye test. So when you actually are looking to do these drills, watch some of the videos of the pros doing it. As you film yourself while you're doing it, and you'll kind of see. Ryan Greenspan talks about this when he's surfing. He thinks, wow, I'm caught this wave. I'm looking like Kelly Slater out here. He goes back, looks at the video, and goes, man, I look like a squid. And so it's more like filming yourself is a really good way of making sure that you're passing that eye test as well, and keeping your pack lower if you're doing the snake, or because those are deductions when you're doing the snake drill. You want to keep your pack below the beam. And obviously these drills have real game context, so we don't want you to be doing things just for speed and not trying to actually improve on what the drill's trying to teach you. So those are things that I think you can look at from the drills and kind of make sure you're taking those things away from it, and then come into the combine very confident that you know what the drill is all about, and that way you can give your absolute best when you're at the combine.
Absolutely. And make sure you're in shape.
And I would add, like, the timing, tempo, and function are really important. Understands the scoring and how the scoring is weighted before you get to the combine. Like, really understand the timing of things, especially like the off the break shooting thing. Like, if you're just whipping around and you're completely inaccurate, take a breath. Like, you have time to take a breath there, reset, get focused again. Like, really understand the timing and tempo of all this and the functionality around it. Don't just show up and it's literally like showing up for a test that you haven't studied for. You're probably not going to do well. Do a little homework.
Right. And the videoing is so important, to Anthony's point. Something I do a lot of, especially outside of paintball. I like to shoot like real guns. And so I'm always training and always going back and watching tape. Oh, look at that. That was more of a scoop than a punch. All these different things that you're looking at in order to improve efficiencies. And so if you can sit there and get a good base before you get to the combine, and you maintain that, and you have a consistent base, you got a consistent time and target and et cetera that you're constantly meeting, and it's a good one, then you can feel comfortable coming into the combine, right? We're looking for accuracy, consistency, form, right? So these sorts of things, look at your tape, watch tapes of pros doing it, go back, keep measuring yourself until you get to a very comfortable norm, and then see where you stand. That's the other thing about the combine that I think is wonderful, right? It is an opportunity to see where you stand, right? Amongst some of those people that there's going to be some of the best people, up and comers, that are going to be there. And you're going to get to see where you stand in relation to that. So,
yeah, I think that's a good point, especially for players too that are not U16, U19 eligible. Maybe they're not trying out for the veterans team. They're kind of in that men's or women's category where they're smack dab in, 20 to 39. There's still plenty of reasons to come out to the combine. That being one of them is to kind of see where you stand against your peers, as well as the whole network thing. It's a whole lot of fun. The first day is all drills. Friday night we do a meet and greet. We used to always do that at the indoor. Sometimes we haven't done it. We're bringing that back to be consistent. So Friday night you'll be able to come and meet everybody. You'll be able to get signature, like autographs, and pick up your swag bag, your jersey, all that. Saturday will be the drills. And then Sunday, we break you up into teams, and each one of the professors is assigned to you, and you play a tournament on Sunday with the coaching of one of the professors. Just to point out, too, this is in Houston, January 31st, February 1st, at Wastelands Paintball. If you're flying in, you're probably going to want to fly into IAH, which is, I believe, Bush, George Bush. Don't
fly into Hobby.
Don't
fly into Hobby.
So those are you can get all this stuff from paintballcombine.com and get all of it. But if you still have plenty of time to get a flight and get down there and pay a reasonable amount. The cost of the combine is $399. That comes with your 2 cases of paint, your 1 jersey, your swag bag, 2 days of teachings, and it's not as much a clinic. You're going to get some feedback, and you're going to get something out of it. If you ask good questions, you're going to get good answers. You're going to get turned away. But it is more of a showcase of your current talent than actually a teaching clinic. You're still going to get a lot of teaching points, especially playing the tournament the next day. You're going to get feedback from your coach. And at the end of the event, you do get an actual email with a breakdown of what the coaches believe is things you could work on, your strengths and weaknesses. So you get this evaluation at the end. So there's plenty of value into coming to the combine. So hopefully, even if you're not U16, U19 veterans eligible, you're still coming down and participating, because I still think, again, there's plenty of value to be had.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm glad you keep saying veterans, because I've had a few people reach out to me and say, like, hey, I saw this. Is this real? Are you guys really going to look for outside pros, non-pros? And I said, yes, we are. Like, we have some guys that are current pros who are 40 years old, who are more, I mean, they're going to get an opportunity if they want to come. We're not going to tell Ryan Moorhead no.
Right.
Like, he's really, really good.
Yeah.
But like we've hit a place now where like we need snake guys. We need if Mantoni comes back, he was great. Like, he was fantastic, and so was Greg. But like we need more guys. Like, we need more guys. We need small guys, fast guys. You don't have to be small. Just be fast. Just be fast. Anyway, I told him yes, and step one is you need to come to the combine. Come to the combine. Let us take a look at you. If you fit the bill, you more than likely get an opportunity to go.
Yeah, Ryan Podesta is coming back to the combine. You know, he's made the team a few times. Yeah, you know, a couple times we had gone full pro. So there's going to be opportunities there for vets to make their mark. To you got the coach of the vets team there, so impress Ryan, and you got a shot at making the team. On that note, though, Ryan, I do want to give you another job. Archie Montemayor is 40 this year, so we, put that down in the notes. But for those, I get a report. Chris Rail from the APPA sends me reports at the end of every year of ranked in APPA order. If you're 40, you know, you make the query, and then it's all right there in front of me. And I saw Archie was the number one on the list because he was over 40 and had the most APPA points. And I'm like, oh, it takes something to knock Ryan down from number one, because Ryan's usually the first one. And I was like, okay, Archie's there. Slow EX on that list, Moorhead. So there's lots of Mikey Ireland's on the list now. Agent Smith is on the list. Like, there's some players there. So, but we are going to be asking some of the non-pros to come out and make their argument of why they should be on the squad. So please don't hesitate to do that.
Love it. Absolutely.
Let's talk about some of the returnings, if we don't mind. So
we saw the nominations from the females, Jen. There's going to be a lot of new faces, probably a lot from that list for the Team USA women's part of it. So I'm excited there. I've started to make some of our calls on the women's side, and everybody seems pretty excited. So I think we're going to see a lot of new women participate this year, but still have a very solid team. You've been to Team USA. You've got at least, do you have 2 or 3 gold medals? 2?
2. I only did 2. That third one was tempting for sure to come back for the three-peat. But to your point, Ann, I think that's one of the great things about our women's team is that right now, obviously, you know, we're only at 10 WNXL teams and, you know, kind of have a top 4, which gives us enough to kind of let there be a little bit of a rotation of who gets to have those experiences. And I think that was one of the big reasons for me not to play again, was just kind of to give that opportunity and to get to watch it from the outside in, to see these other girls get to grow and get to experience that for the first time. And the same to be said about some of these kids that come up and getting to see them have that experience, because it is really, truly an experience. And I know it sounds like a cliche, but it is a experience like no other, playing, overseas, and not just overseas, but playing for your country. And that's something that, you know, nobody should ever take lightly. And not just, playing for your country, but the experience and getting to be in that moment is just unlike any other event ever. So definitely to your point, Ant, I mean, especially for our U16 and U19, the combine's the first step, and it's totally worth it because it is one of the best tournaments ever.
And this is one of the biggest years we've ever had for turnover, in U16. We only have one eligible returning player in Nico Podesta. So it's going to be tougher on the U19 side for players to break into that with so many of the U16s moving up. But for players that are U16 eligible, which means you basically were born in 2010 or later, there are some opportunities. I know we have Cam Blanco coming back, who was a 2024 member. I see him grinding out there, and he's super talented. Tyler Middleton. There's a lot of players that are coming out. Cooper Harrison. These guys are all going to be out there. I'm hoping like Mikey Guerrero and a lot of the San Antonio players come back out. So there's opportunities and really good players. And I think it took Nico 3 or 4 combines to make the team and get the invite as well. So please, for those that have played before, don't give up. Keep grinding. You've been there. You know what it takes and just improve on that a little bit. And I'm hoping that this year will be the breakthrough year for a lot of those players that weren't able to make it, because there are some, in my opinion, 4 to 5 spots that are viably open for U16, and even on the U19, no one spot is set in stone. I mean, I guess no one's going to take my Evan Middleton spot away from him until he has to grow up. But it's he's an unbelievable person, unbelievable captain, player. But Colton Dahl was another one that just went right through the program. Super good dude. Got so good over that time. He finally aged out. You can't replace a Colton Dahl, but Evan's real close. So and we've got a lot of returning guys in Owen. We just talked about John L as a beast. Eli Roberts. There's Michael Rojas, who plays on Shock. They came in second, playing semi-pro at World Cup. So hopefully all these guys are coming back, and anybody new that's going to want to try and knock those guys off is great. We always say iron on iron sharpens. So I'm hoping that these guys have some real competition to try and challenge them for their spots when it comes tryout time. So what happens after the combine is if you get a invite to Team USA, it'll happen the week after the combine. You'll get an invite. And I already know the USA tryouts. The tryouts for the USA is the weekend after Tampa. So I believe it's the last weekend in March. And that will be back at Wastelands to guarantee, knock on wood, good weather. We used to do it in Boston in May, but it's just nicer for players to know if they made the team earlier. That way we can start fundraising and doing a bunch of things for planning and stuff like that. So it's too cold in Boston and in different parts of the country, even in March, that the weather's just too unpredictable. So doing it in Houston works out.
Yeah, and also one other thing I wanted to say, what you were talking about, Anna, about the combine and the value of it is, I know we talked a lot about the drills, but I want to go back to what you said about Sunday and about how you get put on a team, and of course all of your pro professors, that you call them, are kind of all doing their own eye test, and I think a lot of that comes out on Sunday as well, because as we know in paintball, part of it is fundamentals and part of it is being a teammate. And this game is a 5-on-5 game. It's not a 1-on-1 game, and you're not playing solo. So even if you go out there on Saturday and you don't think you did as great as you could have, on Sunday, for me, I am so big on communication. And I think that's where you see, people who, I was actually going to make a joke earlier about Colt Lookout doing a communication drill at the combine, because that's the kind of stuff that you want to see, is these guys prove that they are a good teammate, and that they, understand how, a situation may break down even beyond just the fundamental aspect of the game. So for those of you at home that are considering going to the combine, that are, find yourself like me, big on communication and big on teamwork, and that's something that you really cherish about paintball, there's a huge opportunity for that as well on Sunday, and kind of proving to your professors that you are someone that can shine in that aspect of the game. So I think that goes a long way when it comes to Team USA as well, because a lot of that is about culture and about being a good teammate. So something to keep in mind.
Totally. Yeah. And that's where, like, for me, what I see on Sunday, it weighs heavier than what I see on Saturday.
I agree.
Like Saturday, you may not look great standing solo with your gun doing your thing, but you put you in a game format, you may look completely different to me. Like the stuff I see on Sunday usually is what, like you, Anthony brought up Eli Roberts. I mean, I watched Eli at the combine last year kind of pick his team up a couple times, just throw him on his back and go win points. And, you know, he made a big jump this year. He'll be playing with Red Legion next year. So I'm really excited for that kid. But that is what like kind of fostered that intent and need to sort of follow him throughout the year, to keep an eye on him and see, like, was this an anomaly or is this really who he is? Right. And what I found is that's really who he is. So yeah, it's Sunday is, again, to me, just it weighs a little heavier than what I see on Saturday.
Great point.
Yeah, great point. I just a side note for people's mindset, right, is that we had, I think, one match or we were doing, might not even have been at the combine, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I think it was at the tryout. And I swapped Janelle, who was having an okay day, but not a Janelle type day. And I swapped him on another team. And a little light switch went off. I wasn't even thinking he was playing bad. I was trying to just see something else that Marcelo and I wanted to take a look at, and to see if someone else could excel in that position. I can't even remember, but I just remember putting Janelle on the other squad, and in his mind, he was like, "I'm not playing well. I might not make this team," and because I talked to him afterwards, and that's what he said was going on, and he completely came out and just shit on people at that point, and I was like, okay. And so afterwards I was like, what's going on? Because he was like mad, like pumped himself up at the point. And later on find out he was like, yeah, I don't want to get cut. I was like, pulled him aside. I was like, there's no way you're going to get cut. I've seen your body of work. You're on the team. I just can't tell you to right now you're on the team. You know that experience when you're like, I know what this person's made of. He's going to make the team. But I love the idea that I'm not playing up to my potential. I want to make sure that I control my own destiny. I don't want it to be left up to somebody else. I don't want there to be any question that I should be on this team. So when you're out there and you're doing the drills and you're out there and playing on Sunday, make sure don't play outside of yourself, because then you start doing things that are stupid. But make sure that you're there for a tryout. You're there to show us something. And I think a lot of times what happened was some players that were solid on Sunday, but at the end of the day, Marcelo will tell you this, especially for U19, U16. I'm sure you as coaches agree. You're looking for players that can change the game. You're not looking for guys like at the level that we're going to start choosing people. Everybody can do a job. Usually everybody can communicate to some extent. Like you said, Jen, some people are way better than others, but we're looking for people that change the game. And we think when you're in a hostile environment over there and you're on a 2-on-3, that you're going to be able to pull 1 point back, because there's going to be a point in every match for every team that goes over there that we should have lost on paper. And we need someone to pull out a game. And that's what we're looking for. And I mentioned it earlier. We're looking for 10 gamers, and that's what we want. So when you're thinking about this combine, whether you're U16, U19, vet, anything playing on Sunday, please put every effort into showcasing yourself in the best way possible. So that doesn't mean if you're not a snake player to try and get in there, and force it. But if you need to get in there, you get in there. There's a point in the game that you'll need to do whatever you need to do the right move to win the game. And that's what we want to see. And hopefully everybody goes into that, because I do have some people that question things at the end and be like, I didn't get an invite, or, I didn't feel like I got a lot out of the combine. And I said, well, I'm sorry that you didn't think that. Is there a way we can talk it out? And you're nicely trying to say, well, let's look in the mirror. Did you really give it everything? Did you ask questions? Did you do what you needed to do to get everything you could out of this event? And then they're like, yeah, I guess I didn't. And then I don't want that for anybody that signed up. I want you to come ready. I want you to come to ask real questions. I want you to come and really try. And then I almost guarantee it that you will get way more than your $400 value out of this event if you do all the things necessary to get everything out of it.
You know what the combine to me is? It's a gym membership. And I want to be clear about what I mean by that. If I go to the gym and I put my headphones in and I walk around and I go like fill my water bottle and I go like walk on the elliptical for a little while and I leave, I didn't really like get anything out of that. You know what I mean? I didn't really get much from it. But like if I go to the gym and I've prepped appropriately, my mind's right, my body's right, and I go in and I do the work that I'm supposed to do, and I leave and I feel really good about it, it's usually because I took the initiative to make sure that the experience was going to be the one that I wanted, right? Yep. Like, and I say that only because I've been using this a lot lately when I hear people say like, I just didn't have a very good experience. And I'm like, well, tell me about it. And they'll start to tell me, I'm like, man, this all sounds like you. It sounds like you set it up to not be a great experience. You didn't utilize all the tools that were in front of you, literally laid at your feet, this beautiful set of tools. All you had to do was pick them up, start swinging the hammer, start putting the screw, and then ask questions about, hey, did I swing the hammer correctly? Should I hold it differently? Like there's these amazing resources in front of you when you go to the combine where though it's not a clinic, you can still ask questions.
Oh, yeah.
And especially on Sunday. Like if I had a couple of people that I bumped into that I know really well that said, hey, like, I just don't feel like my kid got to play very much. And I'm like, well, did he talk to the coach? Was he standing there as the lines were being called? Like, did he do everything he needed? Like, we're not more than likely just going to put a list together and start like just randomly calling names, especially as we get deeper into the tournament. We want to win.
Right.
So we're gonna usually look right in front of us, go, yeah, you, and you. Let's go. Right. Was he standing right there? Or was he standing at the back of the pit? Like, did he take advantage of the opportunity to play? And after some conversations, like, well, maybe he did. Maybe he did. Maybe there was more we should have done. Yeah, man. Put yourself in the best place. Right. And I did want to touch on this. Rob G says Sunday determines whether a kid is coachable or not. That's for dang sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's absolutely sure.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I want
the combine is whatever experience you want to make it.
Right. And I just wanted to say this. If you want momentum, you have to create it. You have to create it. Right. So that's just, I think that's sums up what you're all saying, right? Get your butt out there, put in the work. Do the work. And then if you still feel that, hey, I gave 150% and it still didn't work out for you, okay, the impediment to your action, right? So it's an opportunity to grow from that. Where did you fall short? And then we need to work on it. Every opportunity is to learn and grow. So don't look at it as a setback. Look at it as a lesson.
But there's also like when you're done, like if you didn't get maybe the play time you wanted, or you didn't feel, as soon as the combine is over, grab your coach. Hey, I want to come back next year. I want to make Team USA, or I want to get, but whatever the case may be, what are the things that, like, I know you're going to send me this assessment, but do you have 5 minutes to give me like 3 or 4 key points that I can fix by next weekend? Like, and a lot of times you're going to get a really good response.
Agreed.
Yeah. Especially you're fresh and in your coach's mind, just watched you play several matches. So it's one of those things that if you can take advantage of it, then like you said, Brian, you can immediately implement those things the next weekend. So one of the things we've been working on together as a group here is our BKI app, and that's going to be launching in January, and it's going to have a lot of those. The analogy of the gym, it's going to hopefully be like having a personal trainer with you on your phone with programs and everything to keep you on track. But you're never going to get anything out of it, or you're not going to get what you could get out of it if you're not going to apply yourself within the app. So it's the same type of thing.
Love it. It's perfect. Excellent.
Anything else?
I have one last question. Did you hear anything about the Russians being able to play again at Team USA? Because I'm
working on it.
All right.
Working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I took kind of the information that you and Laurie shared with me last year and passed it on to our ownership group.
Yeah.
Who had a conversation with Laurent. And so those wheels are now turning. So hopefully that will be the case, that they have an opportunity to participate. Because again, like I want it to be if we win, I want it to be against the best teams, right? And I feel like when they're not there, like when Malloy and Kirill and Pasha and Leo and these guys aren't allowed to come, it's not a representation of the best in the world. So, and I kind of shared that with Laurent, and he was like, yeah, we've talked about it. And I was like, well, can I connect you with our people? Let's try to make this work. And so we're working on it.
Yeah, every year, and this is no disrespect, obviously, to the situation happening in Ukraine. It's crazy and it's terrible. But to your point, having Russian players participate in a paintball tournament, in my mind, is different than a war going on. Like the two don't correlate to me. But I am not Ukrainian. I'm not in a war right now, so I don't want to sit here and say something that is out of turn because I'm not in that position. So some person might have a completely different view on it, and I respect their opinion on that. But every year I try to say, hey, I'm okay with it playing, but where are we at here and why are we doing something, just so it can be made clear to me. But someone had said that this year might be the year. And I know that the women have always wanted to play the Russian women. And I'd love to see some of the up-and-coming talent out of Russia as well. So I'm looking forward to it if they were able to play.
We're real hopeful. We're working on it. Because there's a couple of young teams over there that I think could pool some guys together to make a U19. I don't know about a U16, but yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah, I'd love to see the Russian women's team, man. They were the team that won the women's in 2019. So the last one that we had prior to COVID, that the USA team actually attended with the women's team. So yeah. So in the 3 years that we've been back as a women's team, 23, 24, 25, right? And then the last one was 19 for the women's. So yeah, that's the only other team that's won it when we haven't, when we've been there. So it'd be super awesome to see their women's team back as well.
Yeah, I don't know if they could even get a women's team together in time.
Yeah, and actually Ukraine had a team in 2023. They had a women's team.
Yeah, I remember that. It was awesome
too.
See that.
Yes, they were. Yep.
Yeah, so hopefully, to answer your question, hopefully they get it worked out.
Well, thanks for having
us. I know they want
to
play.
Yeah,
I know they want to play. They really want to play. Yeah, man. Thank you and Jen very much for joining us. We appreciate all of the information, all the content. Again, Jen, we got to make this a regular thing next season. 2 weeks after each event, you come join us. We talk about the WNXL final match. We'll bring in the winning coach. Yeah, down 4 flats. Perfect.
I love it.
Have a great Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas. I love it.
You too. I'll drop you guys down, hang out. We'll talk in the green room.
All righty.
Again, thank you so much to Anthony and Jen for joining us tonight on episode 97. Thank you to Major League Paintball, Major League Paintball Plus, Tom Cole, Kevin Fillers, Darren Cessna. Please, if you like the show and you want to, go vote for us. To be clear, Mike and I are so humble about how we do this. We're so excited just to be nominated. We know that our show is niche, right? We mostly talk to coaches. So we're really excited that we even got nominated. So thank you guys so much for that. If you want to, please go vote for us. Up if you're on Facebook, down if you're on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, it's in the description, or any of the podcast channels, it's in the description of the show. For Mike Bianca, I'm Ryan Gray. Be responsible.